What the hell are we doing back here?
To finish where it began.
Oh, thank God, because, this is getting really tedious.
Speaking of which...
Yeah, I know. I'm getting to that. So Rugrats Go Wild is a crossover between Rugrats and the Wild Thornberrys, two shows made by Klasky Super Productions that aired on Nickelodeon. It was originally made as a TV special, but after screenings, Paramount decided that it should be remade into a theatrical feature film. And according to Wikipedia, that 90-minute made-for-TV special still exists somewhere in the Nickelodeon vaults. I have to admit, as mediocre as this film is, I would kill to see that version. Well, that and footage of John Lithgow in the recording studio for Rugrats in Paris. Another interesting factoid is that Rugrats Go Wild wasn't the original title. It was actually The Rugrats Meet the Wild Thornberrys. A less impressive factoid is that this film had the gimmick of scratch and sniff odorama or aromascope or smell-o-vision or whatever, and was the last film to have this gimmick up until recently with the release of the latest Spy Kids movie.
Fuck off!
Yeah. So where the first film opened with an homage to Indiana Jones, and the second opened with an homage to The Godfather, this film opens with the babies fantasizing about being the Thornberrys. Well, more like Tommy being Nigel Thornberry and the others being... other people.
Nigel, why are we sinking?
Quicksand! I should have known! Guys, hang on to me!
After snapping back to reality by way of bullet time, Angelica makes fun of Tommy because...
You're never gonna have real adventures. You're just a backyard baby with a diaper full of dreams.
That's the funniest damn thing I've ever heard! You're a real card, Reed!
And so Tommy watches Nigel Thornberry to raise his spirits.
Well, faithful viewers, our journey was a smashing success. Until next time, this is Sir Nigel Thornberry of Sir Nigel Thornberry's Animal World.
Okay, so for those who don't remember, The Wild Thornberrys was a show about a family who traveled around the world so that the parents would document wild animals for a televised nature show. The show mainly focused on the family's youngest daughter, Eliza, but we'll get to that later. Let's just thank your respective gods that Tim Curry is in an animated movie and he isn't the villain for once.
Why, rest your eyes for a second at old Thornberry's gator bait.
Are we just gonna forget that the baby spent days in a freaking forest being hunted by a wolf? And so we cut to the parents getting ready for a cruise.
Well, I'm gonna use the whole 7 kid-free days to reshape my physique.
Could happen. The Earth was created in 6.
Someday, you must tell me how you did it.
Disgusting.
And another cut takes us to the day of the cruise, where we find out that Susie is actually a featured character in this movie, rather than just there for a quick cameo.
And my daddy's cutting the ribbon at the Dummy Bear theme park opening. But I wanted to come with you guys. And we're so glad you did, Susie Carmichael. Now here, hold the spotlight on loud singer Cynthia. Dresses and shoes are the only things that all share.
Huh. I actually know that song.
Precious and few are the moments we two can share.
Not a bad choice. So the cruise takes off without them because Stu instead rented a crappy tugboat.
No fancy package tour, just the thrill of the open sea, the smell of the salt air, and the joy of close friends and family.
Drew, hold the shoes.
I'm queen of the world!
Did the movie just make that reference for me? Meanwhile, on a nearby island, the Thornberrys are having family problems because the parents have been working a lot and the girls want a vacation. That's it. That's basically their arc for the whole movie.
But as a teen, I reserve the right to alternately reject and embrace my parental units.
And consider us embraced. Now, keep an eye on Donnie. It's going to rain, and you know how he likes mud.
Okay, 2 things. One, that's Donnie, voiced by Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and his backstory is a bit of a different ballgame entirely. And two, can we please just stop with the stuff getting caught on the camera lens thing? I mean, it's one thing to have it in a live-action movie where it could just be an accident. It's another thing entirely to have it be like a stylistic choice in an animated film. And it just kind of takes me out of it because I know there is no camera.
She totally hung up on me, and I was having a sensitive moment.
Debbie, you are so self-centered.
I am not! Okay, what's the monkey saying about me?
Right, time for backstory. So in the Wild Thornberrys, Eliza got her power of communicating with the animals from a warthog shaman she rescued from a bear trap. The one rule to her powers was that she had to keep them a secret. Later in the movie, Poacher threatened to hurt Debbie, the older sister, if Eliza didn't tell them how she knew about their evil plan, and she told them it was because she talked to the animals, breaking her deal with the shaman and leaving her powerless throughout the climax of the movie. At the end, the shaman comes back to give Eliza her powers, with another stipulation being that if Debbie told anyone, she'll be turned into a baboon. One more thing, Eliza Thornberry is voiced by Lacey Chabert.
So if you're from Africa, why are you white?
Oh my god, Karen, you can't just ask people why they're white.
So going back to this new ship, Lollipop, is the score riffing Gilligan's Island? Okay. Anyway, they get caught in a storm.
It's a 40-foot wall of water.
We're gonna need a bigger boat.
Can you please stop referencing stuff? You're making this really hard for me to write. So the ship capsizes and they float away on their emergency raft.
There's got to be a morning after. If we can hold on through the night, I know we can.
Okay, I know that they're referencing the Poseidon Adventure, and it's a pretty blatant reference at that, but the thing is, the first time I ever heard this song was from this.
There's got to be a morning after, if we can hold on to the night.
I'm not saying it's a succubus, but... And then Angelica's Cynthia doll falls overboard, just so they can make this reference in the very next scene.
My dear, I wish I could hold you safe in my arms from here to eternity.
I haven't actually seen From Here to Eternity, so that's all you're gonna get from me.
I've got a map. We'll figure this out. We left here. We capsized here. I know exactly where we are. See? We're on this tiny little island called... uninhabited.
You mean we're the only people here?
Technically, no.
Homemade coconut muffins and fresh herbal tea.
Debbie, this is so sweet.
Oh, and these look heavenly.
I'm afraid we must eat and rub.
Oh, really delicious, honey.
But you guys just got here.
I know, but the Foundation is expecting that footage today, and we still haven't got it. Nigel, I think we should split up.
Dearest, I thought we were so happy. Oh, you mean to look for the leopard, don't you? I saw that!
What?
That! You think I've got a clock in my head, don't you?
Whoa!
So the parents wander off, and then Eliza wanders off like she does, and then we cut back to the babies playing in a makeshift playpen. Angelica and Susie bicker, and it leads into a song.
This isn't like our park back home with slides and pools and swings. It's a creepy little island with great and scary things.
This film series has always had this problem of deciding between whether to be a straight-up musical or to just have montages over copyrighted songs. And with this movie, they still haven't figured it out. Meanwhile, the adults start fighting.
This is all your fault.
My fault?
Whose idea was the stew cruise to doom?
Oh, I would expect that from a Finster in the Dills, but Charlotte...
I knew this game was coming since you were in diapers.
I should have never left Paris.
Oh, come on, Kira. Can we all just forget Paris? Rude.
This is the Circle of Chaos. If we're gonna survive on this island, we can't ever step foot in the Circle of Chaos.
Oh, I see. Kind of like in Lord of the Flies, where Ralph decided the best way to keep order is to have the rule that only the person holding the conch shell is allowed to speak. Basically trying to keep a semblance of order to keep from degenerating into savagery. Smart plan. How did that go in the book? Well, shit.
Angelica, are the grown-ups mad at my daddy? That's a blunder statement. He's in big trouble. It's because of him we're gonna have to live here forever. Maybe we can help. You babies are gonna help? You can't keep your fingers out of your nose.
They survived a week in the woods and piloted a giant mech. I think they'll do just fine.
I think it's the drain forest, just like we saw it on Nigel Strawberry's TV show. Does that mean Nigel Strawberry's here? What makes you think that big-nosed nature guy's on this stinky island?
I don't know, the script. So they wander off, Stu wanders off, Angelica wanders off, and even Spike wanders off. They should have named this movie Rugrats Go Wandering. Angelica then wanders into the Thornberry camp.
Hey, lady!
Who's calling me a lady? I'm a teen. Where'd you come from? This is supposed to be a deserted island.
I'm Angela Tiki, the island princess, and I'm thirsty. And I lost my touch for being bossy, so you gotta teach me. No ice cubes next time.
Oh god, not another one.
This place is different than our own backyard. I hope we haven't gone too far.
Yeah, no. And so they venture onward, leaving Chucky behind. Oh, hi, Eliza.
Have you seen any around?
Sure, there's one at the... You'll never believe what I just saw. There's a little girl at camp, and she's a miniature Debbie.
Send Funny Bunny to sweet little girl.
They find Spike, and because of Eliza's powers, he gets a voice.
Could you give a dog a little warning? I'm trying to do my business here.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
You know, it's funny. For a minute there, I thought I actually heard you talking to me. You talking to me? Are you talking to me?
Yep. Bruce Willis, quoted taxi driver, in a kid's movie, as a dog.
Yeah, I can talk to animals. It's a long story. Should we come back?
Ah, no problem. I'm done. I was just marking.
Spike was here!
Sorry. I know. Where are my manners? I am Spike. Full name?
Down, Spike! Down! Get off that couch!
You know, when I was a kid, this actually kind of blew my mind. Now it's just sad. Meanwhile, Chucky is wandering aimlessly through the forest, most likely reconsidering his choice in friends, when he finds his way to a waterfall.
Phil? Lillian, this is not funny. Ah!
The reflection tells a story of a pirate's life of glory. Trust your eye. The mirror never lies.
You don't know how happy I am about getting to use that. So this scene results in Donnie switching clothes with Chucky because... subplot. It doesn't amount to anything.
Not a hair, not a paw print, not even a dropping. Must keep my chin up. I'll find that cat or my name's not Nigel Archibald Thornberry.
I know you're waiting for the Rocky Horror reference.
I see you shiver with anticipation.
So Nigel takes a dive and gets conked on the head.
Are you okay, Mr. Strawberry?
She called me Mister. Silly Billy. I'm only this many years old.
So the adult falls down and starts thinking he's a baby.
What happened to your dad, Tommy? Maybe he's taking a nap. Cuckoo.
They have run out of ideas and just started referencing themselves.
Watch what I can do.
I'm sorry. I'm just a little irritated because this has already been done. And a lot better, I might add.
Toy broke.
Don't worry. When Daddy gets home, he'll fix... Tommy? He's never coming home. Who's never coming home, Tommy? My Daddy. He's never gonna come home. He turned into Stewie and now he'll never be Daddy again. But now you got Stewie to play with. Yeah, now you got a great big baby to help you get Christmas presents and eat cookies and get in trouble. It's just not the same as having my daddy. When you were my dad, you'd build toys especially for me and read me stories and tuck me in at night and I miss my daddy.
So much better. Meanwhile, Eliza, Darwin, and Spike have a run-in with...
Siri, the clouded leopard.
Siri, are you a clouded leopard?
That I might be.
Spike, this isn't your regular house cat.
They all twitch their whiskers, one whisker at a time, just like you and me.
Don't go and be fooled by those fancy pants. It's just her feline arrogance.
If you are in any way surprised by the idea of Bruce Willis singing, you really shouldn't. Until Spike accidentally tells Siri about his lost babies.
When will I think before I bark?
So they run off and... Oh, hi, Chucky.
Don't go! Not bogeys!
I don't know if that was a reference to the first movie, but if it was, thank you for that.
Hey, they're chasing that little one. That's not very nice. Listen here, mister. Just because you're big doesn't mean you get to be a bully. Shoot! Shoot! Thanks.
Yeah, that's a cute scene. Let's see what other people are up to.
What if I never find a floating diaper in my doggy bowl? What if a spike snap out of it?
Right. Not helping. Focus, Spike. What does focus mean?
And there's a whole movie in a nutshell. So Debbie is teaching Angelica how to be more bossy by bossing her around when Angelica stumbles upon something.
What's that bubble thing?
A bathysphere. It goes underwater. You know, like a submarine?
So Angelica sees the babies by using a damn good pair of binoculars and gets Debbie to try and drive her to wherever the plot is going.
Hey, me too!
This is incredibly necessary.
Debbie, there's a bunch of babies lost around here, and the leopard's after them! I didn't know there was a leopard out there! I'm gonna be in big trouble!
Get back here and put your seatbelt on!
Come on, Cynthia, we're taking a ride!
This is the beginning of the third act. Can you tell?
What's she doing in the bathysphere?
I didn't say I was taking care of her well.
Where are the lights on this thing?
That's a lot of feebass. Meanwhile, Nigel and the babies are hopping around and run into Siri, but Donnie scares her off, and then Chucky and Donnie switch clothes again, and then there's a chase scene, and BAM! Cave! As you can see, this movie's structure can basically be summed up as everybody faffs about for about 50 minutes, and then shit happens. After the plot is set up, everyone gets into groups and then they all have their own respective subplots. The first two movies kinda had this as well, except they both had one thing that this movie doesn't have: a central character arc. Yes, the plot of the first film was the babies getting lost and everyone looking for them, but the central theme was Tommy taking on the responsibility of becoming a big brother. That was the emotional thread that tied everything in that film together, from the twins' resentment towards Dill to Tommy's frustration with dealing with Dill's attitude, and the prospect of him losing his friends. In the second movie, it was Chucky realizing what he truly wants in a mother and getting the courage to make sure his dad doesn't make a terrible mistake. The first two movies had storylines to keep the audience engaged on an emotional level. As for this movie, because it's trying to keep track of so many different characters at once, it essentially loses any semblance of focus. Not only that, but when they try to have some sort of an emotional thread, it basically boils down to Tommy repeating something that Angelica said at the beginning of the movie. That wasn't even acknowledged until 55 minutes into the fucking movie!
I am just a backyard baby with a diaper full of dreams.
Which doesn't even make any sense! Because in the first movie, he was leading everyone out of a damn forest! And in the second movie, he helped pilot a giant freaking mech! Why on earth would he feel this way? God, dumb babies! Don't do the Princess Leia buns. It cheapens us both. Oh wow, I forgot about you guys.
Who's that little cannibal boy?
Those look an awfully lot like Chucky's sneakers.
You ate the fish and Chucky!
Come on, guys, after him!
Hit him with a coconut.
Okay, so here's where things get convoluted. So the parents find Mary Ann Thornberry, who tells Debbie to bring the combi over, but the combi is sunk because of the flare from earlier. And apparently, Stu built the radio.
Stu, who's watching the kids?
Oh, Angelica said she'd take care of them.
Oh, this is very strange. I feel like this has happened before.
So Stu gets a signal, which turns out to be Angelica and Susie bickering in the bathysphere, and... long story short, Nigel is knocked back to normal, and the bathysphere is stuck at the seafloor.
Oh, Nigel, thank goodness you're all right. Can you bring her to the surface?
Impossible at the moment, dearest. You'll have to engage the automatic retrieval system in the convi. And I don't want to alarm anyone, but we're a tad low on oxygen down here.
Copy that. We'll get you as soon as we can. Over and out. Okay, we have to raise the combi.
And to make a long story short,
too late. They raise the combi.
Can we go home now, Mr. Strawberry?
I gotta say, that was actually really well done. And for a film series with moments like this,
We wish we had our doggy back.
that's saying a lot. So of course they get rescued, see a giant squid for no narrative reason I can think of, and we have the obligatory reunion scene.
Pickles! You might grow up to be just like Nigel Strawberry after all. Thanks, Angelica, but I think I'll grow up to be just like my daddy.
So according to this movie, a character arc is when you bring up a character problem at the beginning of a movie, never address it in the middle, and then resolve it at the end. Kind of weak, bordering on lazy, but I'll be a little lenient considering the amount of characters they had to work in here. And so the movie ends with everybody wreaking havoc on the Lipschitz cruise.
Well, Eliza, this dog is my witness. I'll never lose my babies again!
If this was just a TV movie or even a lengthy fanfic, I would probably be a lot more forgiving, because those fields of media don't have the expectations that come with theatrical film. Then again, this isn't the first time that a third movie in a film series was generally received as a disappointment, although I don't think precedence should be an excuse for choppy story writing. So I wouldn't say that it's a bad movie, it's slightly above mediocre at best. It has its moments, but it's all around more shallow than the previous two films, so not really satisfying. There, I finished the reviews. Now, would you please leave me alone?
Damn it!
How did that not work?
How could it work? What exactly were you trying to accomplish here?
I was trying to make you miserable!
By showing me the Rugrats movies? Dude, if I wanted to feel miserable, I'd just do it myself.
Nevertheless, I have the gun!
Fair enough, fair enough.
Do you really want to know why I'm here?
You know what? No, I don't. I really don't care. At this point, it doesn't matter what the hell you are.
I am an entity that feeds on the human misery of...
I don't care! I don't care if you're a poorly formed villain idea spawned from the mind of a naive teenager. All I care about right now is that you have been a thorn in my creative side for the past 2 years, and now you are going down! I have had enough of you. All right. What just happened? Well, the nostalgic Nutcase was possessed by an interdimensional what's-it. Drinking Dr. Pepper seemed to speed up the process. He left you in charge, then turned into the clown, and then tried to feed off your bullshit suffering by subjecting you to the Rugrats movies of all things. Shooting the clown released its soul. I put it in this bottle to prevent it from finding another host body. Uh-huh. Bullshit suffering? Yeah, apparently it feeds off the self-exaggerated suffering of privileged idiots. And the Dr. Pepper? I have no idea. So, what about him? Oh, he'll be fine. Now, we just need to figure out what to do with this.
Precious and few are the moments we two can share. Quiet and blue like the sky, I'm hung over you. And if I can't find my way back home, it just wouldn't be fair. Precious and few are the moments we two can share. Baby, it's you on my mind. Your love is so rare. Being with you is...
Holding up all right? Yeah, that's good. You know, Doc says you'd be fully recovered within a few days, so after that, you can have the show back. You know, I'd rather not. I didn't just leave because of the whole possession thing. I left because I just wasn't feeling it anymore. You know? So what'll you do? I don't know. Probably crash at Doc's place until I figure something out. Alright. Good luck with that. Thanks. Hey. I, missed it when you were around. Me too. And that bloodiest violin joke was kind of dickish. Yeah. So, what now? Well, I'm gonna get some sleep. It's been a weird 2 years. Good idea.